What's going on, my brothers? How we doing?
Howdy, y'all. How's it going?
Howdy. Not
Looks like I'm
too
ready to
bad.
take off.
What was that?
Looks like I'm getting ready to take off.
Yeah. Oh, fucking propeller back there. But yeah, Saturday night. Good to be back, as always. Been excited to do this one for a while now. I know this was one Tugan asked me to do last year. And then I figured with the hype, well, I don't know if hype would be the right word, but with the new remake coming out with starring Bill Skarsgård, I figured no better time than now to do. Plus, we also just got a 30th anniversary 4K release.
Yeah, which that's fantastic.
Yeah, I wish. Did you get your Steelbook to show them? They actually did two Steelbooks.
No,
One,
I actually didn't have it.
they have a regular Steelbook, which Scarpad was able to snag, and it's like impossible to get right now. And then Walmart did a Steelbook. I did like the Walmart one a little bit better. And there's the Crow shirt, dog, Tugan. Yeah, love this one actually.
Yeah, no Crow for me. I got the Toxic Avenger on.
Toxic Avenger, still a good one though. But yeah, I love this shirt. Love this one. There's not too much Crow memorabilia out there, man. So it's such a bummer. I was just thinking, I was like, wish I had a Crow figure. You would think that'd be a golden one for NECA to do. I believe the only one who ever did it was McFarlane when he did the movie Maniacs. He did one.
Right.
But yeah, so we finally got a 30th anniversary 4K, which only comes with a 4K disc. So if you did have the Blu-ray, I'd still hold on to that because I have really cool special slipcover when they were doing when Walmart was doing those like VHS style slipcovers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
I'd never let this go. I only have two of these. One for the Crow, and then I have one for Halloween. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Another one of my favorite slip. I wish they did more of these, man. They did do a few other movies. I just wasn't really too big on the movies. The one I did want to get, I never saw it, that Crawl. Remember that sci-fi movie, Crawl? They did one for that too, but yeah, I love this, man. So I definitely wasn't letting this go. But this is the Miramax Blu-ray that everyone normally would see, you know. This thing has been out since. Are they putting this out? Does it even say? I mean, this has probably been out since like the early 2000s. You know what I mean? But yeah, so good time to do it with the 30th anniversary. Oh, shit. But I guess before we deep dive into it, see if we got any horror news this week. I know the first things first, In a Violent Nature came out. I'm gonna go see that tomorrow. I know that Scarpad saw it yesterday, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And without giving any spoilers, what did you think of it?
I liked it. Overall, I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah,
Great kills.
great kills.
I have a problem with the ending, but I give them props for trying a lot of the stuff they tried in the movie. Some of it worked, some of it didn't, but overall, it was pretty decent.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to check it out.
Well,
Should
a lot of people. I saw some of the other reviews. They said, "Oh, we went and it's like boring, it's slow because it's just this guy walks forever." It's like, but the trailer showed you that. The trailer
right.
showed you that's what they were going for. So if you went
Yeah.
into it for some and didn't realize that, I don't get it. I
Yeah.
told him when I was going to see it, it was like Sasquatch Sunset with a killer.
Well, I hear that the opening starts off with like the people, so you get kind of an opening to see who the people who are going to be killed are.
No, not
No?
really. No.
No. Well, that's what I had heard. I heard that there was an opening where you get like you kind of get to
Well, you
meet.
hear him. You don't. You hear him. You don't see him.
They don't start. Okay, well, we'll see
But I'm
when I
not
go
gonna. I'm
see it.
not. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin things.
No, I don't even want to know. I just had heard something, but yeah, I mean, I knew this was going to be a POV type slasher movie, and Jason, he definitely seems like a Jason ripoff. So he doesn't talk. So why would this guy? So yeah, I kind of am already going in with that mind frame. But yeah, a lot of people are loving it though. But
Yeah.
I think it is supposed to go to Shutter at some point. I'm sure
It's
this
a
is
shutter. It's a shutter movie produced
this
by
is a big one, just like Late Night of the Devil. So it might not be for like a
Yeah,
month.
that one's Shutter. I think that Whispers is a Shutter one too. So Shutter's starting to produce a lot of these movies.
Yeah, yeah. I know you said The Watchers looked pretty good, which I've been
Yeah,
telling you.
Watchers.
That's
Yeah,
supposed
that
to be
looks pretty good.
Shyamalan's daughter or son. It's like their directorial debut, and I know Shyamalan's directing it, which that looks really good. But Shyamalan also has a new movie coming out as well. I think The Watchers comes first, and then Shyamalan has his own movie with Josh Hudson.
Yeah, I
Josh,
want to get. I've been
the
meaning to
kid
get like.
from H2O, the kid from Hutchinson, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it's called Trap. That actually looks really good too. What were you gonna say though?
No, I've been meaning to find and rewatch Signs because I like that movie.
Yeah, me too. I love that one. I watched The Village a few, like when he had.
That's okay. The ending's
Yeah,
disappointing though.
yeah. I remember so much hype about that when it first came out. Josh Hartnett. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I knew it. I knew Hutchinson was wrong. That's somebody else. He's shot in Night Shyamalan. It's his daughter, right? I wasn't sure. I think it's his daughter. But yeah, so I'm excited to go check that out tomorrow. I guess Welcome to Derry. I think it's supposed to be a prequel to the It movies or a sequel. I don't know if it's a prequel or what. Or no, it is a prequel series. It's going to be a Max series though, and they finally announced that Bill Skarsgård is going to be returning as Pennywise. I don't know how that wasn't like a given because I don't know why they would even do this without him. I guess were they maybe gonna recast him if he wouldn't come back? I don't know, but I don't think they should have recast him. But yeah, it's good to know he's coming back. That's for sure. Because I've been talking about that for a couple of years now. So, but yeah, I look forward to that. What was that?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm on my iPad.
No. And
yeah, I'm okay.
I don't know how good it is. I think Scarpad said it's pretty bad. I forget if you said you watched it, but that movie Tarot is now on digital. I'll probably check it out because it does look like it has some cool creatures. You still got me. You got like a second open. Killing me. I can't hear my voice. And I muted you, and it's still here. Yeah, Scarpad. What's going on? But yeah, I definitely would check out Watchers, and I think I mentioned it last week. Blumhouse bringing back the My Bloody Valentine franchise back to life. I sure hope that doesn't mean they plan to do like a trilogy. They should just work on one at a time. I don't even think we need a trilogy, and I really don't think we need fucking Blumhouse touching My Bloody Valentine. So yeah, not really horror, but there was a new trailer for a Brad Pitt, George Clooney movie that looks fucking awesome called Wolf or Wolves. As soon as you watch the trailer, you could definitely tell that John Watts is directing it, the guy who did Spider-Man, and he actually did that clown movie we reviewed a few months back that was produced by Eli Roth. It's like straight out of the Harvey Keitel Wolf from Pulp Fiction. When he comes to clean up like the dead bodies, and it's Brad Pitt or George Clooney coming to this fancy hotel to clean up this dead body, and somehow Brad Pitt also gets called, who is a wolf himself. So these two wolves have to like these solo wolves that don't work with anybody have to team up and figure this out. But George Clooney, Brad Pitt, I mean, you already know that's going to be a big movie. So I can't wait for that. Yeah, should be good. Did you watch that Wolf trailer yet with Brad Pitt and Clooney?
No, but I want to see it though.
So you remember how you last stopped to Yuma County was like the diner scene from Pulp Fiction?
Right.
This wolf is just like the wolf Harvey Keitel from Pulp Fiction. So isn't that funny that like these two movies like are like little parts of Pulp Fiction but turned into their whole movie, their own movie?
Homages.
Yeah. But yeah, so like George Clooney is like a wolf, and then Brad Pitt's a wolf, and they like both show up to the same like murder scene to clean up this thing. They're like, I only work alone in all this, but it looks like it's gonna be fucking awesome. I'm super hyped. John Watts is directing it. I just was telling them, the guy who did Clown and the Spider-Man movies with.
I think that's an Apple release for Apple TV.
It could be. It could be. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's coming to the theater, but Apple's doing it.
Oh, really? It probably is. So I noticed I think Brad Pitt has done one or two Apple releases. I could be wrong, but and it looks like The Boys season 4 is coming out in
sometime this month, I think.
12
June.
days. The 13th. So I cannot wait for that, man. Season 4.
I'm caught up. I can actually watch it.
It's an Apple TV movie, but I thought it was exclusive. Yeah, it probably is gonna
it'll be like Napoleon. It'll go theater first, then Apple TV.
Flowers of the Killer Moon was an Apple movie, but it'll go to theaters and then it'll go to Apple on digital first.
Did we ever get they never came out with a Blu-ray for that movie, did they?
Flowers of the Killer Moon.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I was going to buy the Blu-ray and never came out. I should watch it.
You know, speaking of that, have many Apple Studio shows gotten physical releases?
No, not really. No.
That is. I wonder if that'll get a Criterion or something. Let me see. I'm looking at it now.
I don't know. The Irishman was on Netflix and it went to Criterion, but
it looks like there's a DVD for it.
Really?
And a Region B 4K.
Oh, figures.
But this looks like a DVD in the States. It's weird though. I don't know if this is a fake though.
Could be.
Because it says it ships from Walk Hard Pharma.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, probably a fake.
Did you mention about the dub of -1 being on Netflix?
Oh, yes. So Evan had messaged me late last night and he had said, Godzilla -1 just went to Netflix. And I was like, when? And he's like, at 3 a.m. And I told Scarpad instantly. He's like, what? I haven't heard nothing about this. I didn't either. And that's the funny thing. I mean, there's that new Kevin Hart movie on Prime. It's like so many of these movies you hear nothing about, and they just show up on your physical thing. You go look for Godzilla -1, you can't even find it. You have to physically search it up. It's nowhere
Well,
like you
that's
load it.
like everything on Netflix now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's true. Wolf September 20th release. But yeah, so
But it
I
seems
was
like the Netflix one is the only place with the dub.
yeah, so I went to look because I was curious, is this going to have an English dub or is it going to just be Japanese with subtitles? And there was a few, like you could switch it from like German, Dutch, and all these random ones, but they did have an English dub. And I went to look on Amazon, and because it was also weird because it said HD, it didn't say 4K, which we know it got a 4K release in Japan. And Scarpad's like, well, there's a 4K on digital on Apple, and Amazon also said HD, but it said Japanese audio. So it looks like Netflix is the only place that has the English dub. And yeah, and it's not 4K either. I mean, it's gonna look great because it's a new movie, but obviously I'd love it to be 4K.
Yeah,
And
it's
I was
4K on
thinking, like,
Apple, but
do
no
you have to
English
pay
dub.
extra? Like I know HBO Max, you have to pay extra for 4K. I don't think that's the case with Netflix, but even still,
You do on Netflix. You have to pay extra.
but you
for
can't
4K.
buy a 4K on Prime. It's just HD. I looked
Yeah,
to
if
see.
you don't pay extra, Dylan, for the 4K, then you're not seeing anything in 4K.
Yeah.
Everything's
Well,
HD only.
but even on Prime though, there was no option for 4K. It was only HD. So that was very weird. I'll have to look again and see if maybe it's changed. Let's see. Nope, it's still HD. And I go to more purchase options. There's HD and SD. So, and it's
Yeah,
still
Netflix. That's why I hate Netflix. They're like one of the last places that charges you if you want 4K. So it's so
yeah.
stupid.
Oh, so does HBO Max. So does
Oh,
HBO
do
Max.
they do it now too? Nice.
Now they do it as well. Stupid as fuck. Because I was
Bastards.
pissed because I was like, I want to be able to watch House of Dragon in 4K. The rest I really don't care about, you know. Um, yeah, annoying as hell. Speaking of, you might need to update your Mac because it looks like I got an update on mine. So that could be why yours is doing that.
I don't know.
You have to look into that later.
Weird.
But yeah, definitely. It looks like Netflix has some deal though with like Funimation and all that because they get a lot of Japanese animes and movies. Like they had what was that one? Godzilla. What's the one that
Yeah, I know the name of it.
you
But
know the one I'm talking about that came out before and remember you bought me a copy. I forget the last live action.
oh, Shin Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla, yeah, that went like straight to Amazon as well. And I think they have the Aaron Taylor Johnson Godzilla. They have a bunch of that stuff. But yeah, I don't think there's much more news this week, sadly. Besides Furiosa bombing kind of at the box office for Memorial Day.
Which is too bad. It's a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, too bad. Dude, Chris Hemsworth was absolutely phenomenal in it. But yeah, we got In a Violent Nature, Watchers coming out, Quiet Place Day One, and Long Legs and Trap and Borderlands and Alien Romulus. So definitely still got some good new stuff coming. Should be a decent summer. But yeah, so oh, last thing, this came out a couple weeks ago, but there was that movie on Shudder. It's like a Dutch movie though, and it has the guy from Game of Thrones, Jamie. I think it's called Night Watch. It's like an old Dutch movie. Yeah, it's called Night Watch, and they put, or it's Danish, and the guy Jamie Lannister stars in it, and they put the original one out, which did get remade, and Ewan McGregor played Jamie Lannister's role. It was like a U.S. remake because it is in all Dutch or Danish or whatever, so you have to watch it with subtitles. But they did a long-awaited sequel, I guess, called Night Watch: Demons Are Forever. So if you're bored and want to watch something on Shudder, I watched the Night Watch. It was pretty good. I gotta watch the sequel, but it was still worth a watch because I guess it's a big cult classic. But yeah, so we'll get into The Crow now, man. The Crow, which I think I do. I definitely like this cover better. I think this is still a cool one, but I just love this slipcover. So obviously, man, I'll recommend this if you do have Shudder. There's a documentary series called Cursed Films, and season 1, there's like 6 episodes. One's for like Poltergeist, The Omen,
And this is certainly a cursed film.
and there's one for The Crow. What?
This is certainly a cursed film.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. And they kind of go into like how Brandon Lee was killed and like what happened with the gun and all that. And it's super sad, but at least it's very informative. And I guess there was like 2 production managers that like hit like a electrical pole, and one of the guys caught on fire, and this was like day 1 of the set. So there was more than just Brandon. He got like 2nd and 3rd degree burns as production manager. And
yeah, I heard that Ernie Hudson's brother-in-law died when they were shooting this, and he had to leave for the funeral and stuff. So
damn.
Certainly a lot of crap going on.
And there was also, what was the guy from Hills Have Eyes, Michael Berryman?
Yeah, he was caught. Yeah,
he was supposed to play this like cool looking guy, like kind of like the guy from House 2, like this cowboy with the skeleton cowboy. I wish so bad I could have made it, because they filmed the first scene. It was supposed to be like an open scene and then like an end scene, and they filmed the first scene, but they were supposed to fly him out for the ending scene towards the end, but because of what happened, they just completely cut it. Such a bummer. I would have loved that outfit, that makeup and everything looks so fucking good. What do you keep? I can't keep. You like keep your headphones locked in or something, brother. But yeah, I highly recommend checking that Cursed Films out. This movie came out in 94, the year I was born. This movie, you watch it and it gives you major vibes of like Tim Burton's Batman, like the May 13th, actually. So it came out a month after like 2.5 weeks after I was born. Pretty crazy. Just like the cinematography and the sets and the city in this are just so iconic. It just brings you back to like that Burton era where the cities and all that just felt like that comic book world. That's one thing about this that all the other, shitty sequels that they had just never did, where the Crow's like city is just nuts, man. And with Devil's Night and them like trying to have these fucking, these torch parties to burn the city it's just so awesome, dude. I love the cinematography in this movie and all the set designs. It's just, you feel the dirt and the grime in it. It feels like you're in like that little Tim Burton world, because the city in this is just awesome, dude. And if anyone's ever read the comics, I mean, it's one of the darkest, grittiest, and saddest comics ever, but it is absolutely brilliant, man, and the artwork in it is so good. So cinematography, I think, is a huge thing for this movie, because it needs to capture that aesthetic, and I always thought this one did a fantastic job. And Brandon Lee, he had done a couple movies, but it was more in the line of like what his dad was doing, kind of a little bit more actiony though.
Right.
and this was definitely going to be like his big break, like what he did Rapid Fire and Showdown in Little Tokyo, which one of them had Dolph Lundgren in it.
And the little Tokyo one was the Dolph
Tokyo,
Lundgren.
yeah. But Rapid Fire and Shadow and Little Tokyo, those are two good movies. But The Crow was going to be like his launching. I think he would have got some great roles after this movie. And honestly, this movie is fantastic for everything that happened. Once he died, they planned to not even finish this movie and put it out. But the mother and his wife said no. He was so invested in this. He thought this was going to be the launching of his career. He put so much into this. And they were like, you have to finish it. So they did. But if he'd have got to finish this, I think this movie would have been even better. For everything that happened, yes, it's sad as hell, and it's still a great movie. But if he'd have been there to finish it, the more you find out, you notice, like, that's why there's not as much, like, with him talking, and there's so many scenes with him just running, and you don't see his face, him burn, like doing all these things, and you don't really see him. They show his hand, they show side, they don't show his face. They did the best they could because what they had. What the hell is going on with you, dude? I don't hear you. I hear myself, though. No, I'm echoing. I don't hear you. All I hear is an echo of myself. This man, we're never going to be able to hear him. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, though, if we would have got what, the full movie, and then especially that stuff with Michael Berryman, I think this movie really would have been like a masterpiece. Because definitely the movie is not perfect by any means. It's definitely a product of the 90s. It had issues because, of him being taken too early. But I think if he had never died and they had got to really finish this movie would have been something really iconic. Even though, and that's not saying it's not, because I still think it is iconic. And if you see, this movie definitely set up a lot of stuff for after, like The Matrix and so many other like action comic booky films. I mean, this was definitely one of the first, because in ways it definitely still is like an anti-hero type movie, there he is.
So I keep on getting knocked out. Sorry.
I don't know what the hell is happening. Is it your AirPods?
No, I'm losing your audio whenever I get notifications shut off, but apparently you have to go in and shut off every single app notification. There's just no one master thing. It's so crazy. And every time the notification comes on the screen, it bumps me. So sorry about that.
Your finger's bumping you.
Yeah, that's a stupid place they put the camera.
Well, let's before you get kicked again, man, let us know first time maybe you watched this, if you remember, and what you think about the movie.
No, I saw it when it first came out, so I've seen it a few times, but I really liked it this time. I really appreciated it a lot more than I think I had in the past. I had forgotten that Ernie Hudson was in it, and I had forgotten that
Tony Todd's in it. I used to always say, I was like, dude, he looks just like Tony Todd. And I looked it up because I was like, I always thought like he looked a little different, like just the way he's dressed and with the beard and all that. I was like, he looks so much like Tony Todd. And this time I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, that is fucking Tony Todd. I don't know. I never knew that was Tony Todd.
Yeah, he didn't have a big part in it, but he was in it. But Ernie Hudson was better than I remembered him being.
Yeah, he's great.
It is really, I think even though Brandon Lee got so little screen time, what he had, I think he really sold himself on that role. You do feel that his whole predicament in the end. The guy that plays the henchman, the lead guy that he kills, is great. Michael Wincott, and then the other guy, his henchman.
Well, obviously, you were gone, but if he didn't die, we would have gotten a lot more of him.
Right.
And I think this movie really would have been a masterpiece if they got to make the full movie they intended. Because of him dying, they couldn't make the
Right.
100% movie they planned. You know, they had to cut the stuff like Michael Berryman. He would have been in it, you know, and that skeleton ghost cowboy would have added another layer to it as well.
This cat really kills me.
Michael
But
Wincott was top dollar. That's his
yeah,
name.
he was really good, and I liked just the cinematography in this movie, and,
Oh,
and seeing it in the 4K. This movie needs 4K because
yeah.
it's so dark, and the blacks are like perfect with
Yeah.
with the 4K. So if you have a 4K player, get this movie because it really does look good.
Yeah.
But
And
no,
you could still get the
right.
the slipcover version. Then I highly recommend it.
And you really see how much this series needed Brandon Crowe, because you watch any of the sequels and they're god awful.
Yeah,
This
terrible.
didn't do well. They do like 3 sequels and they're all bad. So
Yeah, one had the kid Edward Furlong. Edward
yeah,
Furlong was in one of them.
and I think they even made a TV series out of this, didn't they, for a short time?
I
It
don't think
wasn't
it's.
on long.
I don't know about a TV series. I just know
Yeah,
about the two series, Salvation and something else.
I remember there was a TV series. I think in the 90s.
City of Angels and Salvation.
Yeah, neither were very good.
Oh, and Wicked Prayer. Oh wait, maybe I think this is the show. Maybe The Crow, Stairway to Heaven, 98 to 99.
Yeah, that was the show. Yeah,
It went 22 episodes. I never even heard about it.
and it was the adaptation of the movie. It was
Oh,
it was his look. Yeah.
Mark Dacascos has played him. I'd like to check that out.
It's probably streaming someplace, I'm sure.
Maybe.
But no, I loved all the scenes set at night, and this kind of reminded me of like the Spawn movie a little bit, the way the streets looked.
Right. Oh, the
And a
streets.
little,
I'd have to see. But this gives me like Tim Burton Batman vibes. Like just not as dark, but like you know what I mean? It's like you can't that cinematography in this world is just so comic booky in a way. You know what I mean? Like dark and gritty
right.
and textured and it's raining all the rain and all it just looks like classic like Grindhouse New York. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, a little bit like with the Daredevil TV series, that level of New York.
I saw the Wicked Prayer Crow with Edward Furlow. I don't know if I've seen Salvation. That one has Kirsten Dunst and Eric Mabius.
Yeah, that's the one that Shout Factory just put out.
Yeah, and it's still in stock. I'd like to watch it, see if it's any good, but if it's still in stock, that must say that it's bad.
It's not very good.
Yeah. So there was two movies after this, and then the TV show. So there's 3 movies total, 4 with the new one coming out.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely think I appreciated this movie more watching it this time. I really enjoyed it a lot more, I think.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's definitely good. Yeah, I mean, I've always appreciated it. I've always loved it. I definitely, kind of, like Ernie Hudson, Tony Todd. Like you got 2 very strong black actors for that time. Michael Wincott. I always used to be super creeped out by him. He's the one who, as time has gone on, I think he gets a little weaker for me. I always loved him as a kid, but as I've gotten older, he becomes the weakest link in the movie, in my opinion. Him with his weird relationship with his sister, it's definitely creepy.
Right.
But that's where I think like you would have got once Brandon dies, they have to put more on him, kinda, and go a little bit more into his weirdness and all that because they can't show him as much. Where I don't think they would have done that if Brandon was there. It would have been just all focused on Brandon. He would have just been the bad guy, like they would do in 90s films, Because he had a considerable amount of time on screen, Michael Wincott, and you notice like it's once because you kind of can figure out in the movie, like if you know
You
a lot
also,
about
yeah,
the
and
movie, when he died.
you also got a lot of screen time for his henchmen too.
Yeah,
The one
definitely.
they
And the
killed.
henchmen are great. They're creepy and
Yeah.
sadistic. 'Cause I'd say he probably filmed about 2/3 of the movie, I'd say. Yeah. I think from what I had heard from the Curse films, I think he filmed about 2/3. So he filmed a good portion of the movie,
Yeah, most
but
of it. Yeah.
I think a lot of the bigger scenes and some of the bigger action scenes, they didn't, because they usually do those kind of last. They get out a lot more of the talking scenes and more of they but man, it's crazy, man. Bruce Lee dies at 32 and his son dies at 28. And did you ever hear Bruce Lee? There's a movie based on Bruce Lee. What's that movie called? Do you know which one I'm talking about? The
No.
biopic movie.
Yeah, I
And
remember it, but I don't remember what it's called.
shit, they go
Was it
into
Dragon?
the
Dragon?
maybe it's probably
I think
something
it was
like
called.
that.
Yeah, that was Dragon or something.
And but they just Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Yeah, I think that, yeah. Which is a bummer because I guess Brandon, 93, he might have been dead at the time, but they probably filmed it in 92, so it's kind of a shame. I would have liked them to actually use Brandon to play his father. I don't know why they didn't, but maybe he didn't want to. But there's a thing where his father tells Bruce Lee's father tells him that the men are cursed. So when Bruce was little, they would dress him, his parents would dress him up as a little girl to trick the demon that he didn't have a son, and now he knows that he has a son, so he's coming for you. Um,
Almost
and
like
then
with the guy, almost like what happened in that wrestling movie,
what?
the Iron Claw there with the cursed son,
Oh, yeah,
the cursed
yeah,
family.
yeah, right. Wicked, man. That's another crazy one. Um, but what was it? So there's like a scene too where like they use like a samurai thing in the Dragon movie to use as like the demon, and when it's coming after Bruce, he's like yelling to Brandon like, "Run, Brandon, run!" Um, but in that Curse films, they talk about a part where one of Bruce Lee's last scenes he filmed in a movie is when it's a scene where they're like in the movie they're like filming a movie. I don't know the movie exactly, and this guy they're supposed the guy this bad guy's supposed to use like blanks to shoot at Bruce Lee, but he switches out the blanks for a real bullet,
Right.
and he like kills Bruce Lee in the movie. And they were like, "How crazy is it that the last scene that Bruce Lee ever filmed is like spot on with how his son died?" Obviously, the guy didn't purposely put a real bullet in there, um, but that shit's crazy, man. I messed around and saw a movie, and I swear it was Dylan. What was the movie? No worries, it wasn't a crew. What was it? Suicide Squad, motherfucker. Um, but yeah, I don't. I probably saw. I think I rented this from Blockbuster in like maybe like early 2000s. I'd say I was probably like 8 when I first watched it, and I thought it was just wicked, man. I thought it was the world and the cinematography was just so like you just when I was 8 watching this, I was just so immersed in it, and I thought it was just so cool, dude. And I know, I guess, like in this Skarsgård one, there was no white makeup; it was just black, like down his eyes, and like that.
Yeah, well, that's how he looks in the book now.
Yeah, but I liked Brandon Lee's makeup in the movie. I liked the white, and I thought he pulled it off really well. And I just loved like his outfit and everything. I thought it was just spot on, dude. I thought it looked badass. Um, and like I
Yeah,
was
this
saying,
movie, this movie kind of had the feel of like what the '90s Marvel movies felt like. Like I equate this movie a lot like to the Thomas Jane Punisher movie. You could
Right.
watch that back to
Blade and
back with
all
The
that.
Crow, Blade. It had that feel of how the '90s Marvel movies felt, and they weren't, actually that bad to tell you the truth. We complained a lot, but I enjoyed the Punisher, I enjoyed the Crow, and Blade. So that would be a good triple feature.
Yeah, no, I love the Thomas Jane Punisher and Blade and all that. So I love the '90s. In my opinion, the '90s were great. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, this movie's a straight up cult classic though for everything that went on. I mean, um, I've seen people say they're like, I don't think this is a great movie by any means, but it's definitely an important movie, and it's still you know to them they think it's aged a bit because the '90s, but I love the '90s, man, and I love some of the cinematography in the worlds like that they threw out there in the '90s. I mean, we
Yeah,
you
and
know,
he's very believable in the character. He sells that character, that whole revenge. You
yeah,
feel for him at the end.
oh yeah, which this was super near and dear to um James O'Barr because I guess his wife was murdered in real life by a drunk driver. So that love story, man, like rang true, and I guess the only way for him to not want to like kill himself was by trying to take that pain and put it out onto the paper. And I mean, that comic book, if you've read it, man, I mean, it's powerful, man, and the artwork is awesome, dude. And I mean, I have a nice, beautiful hardcover of it, and I'm super proud to own it because it's just a great, great comic book and a great graphic novel, and one that I always recommend to people if you're getting in. Not one to start off in comics, but like once you've kind of been reading for a while, for a couple years, that's a great one to like dive into. Just one of the best independent comic books, and I'd say one of the first few to one of the first like independent comic books. Oh, dude, and you got to. It's such a good one. The artwork in that alone is just so good. Um, but yeah, dude, the henchmen. I mean, I guess because those guys are like kind of like Michael Wincott's henchmen, but you got what Tintin, T-Bird, uh,
right.
Fun Boy, and I think what's the last one? Maybe Skank. They call him. There's all four of those guys are awesome, man. They're just nuts. They're sitting there eating bullets and taking shots, putting cigars out on their tongue. I mean, just fucking maniacal,
Mhm.
dude. I mean, you already get that like when you see that they freaking beat the shit out of, raped, and just toyed around with um, Eric Draven's wife Shelly, but when they're around that bar and they're just going nuts and they're ready to like when they call each other's name, they're like one moment from killing each other. Um, I think they do just a great job, man. I love them. Um, I absolutely I love this movie, man, and I appreciate the hell out of it. That's for sure. Um, Obviously Eric Draven steals the show, but out of the bad guys, who would be your favorite? Would you? I'd
Yeah,
maybe go
yeah, definitely the probably Fun Boy.
Fun Boy. Yeah, I was gonna say either Fun Boy or maybe T Bird. T Bird's a good one too. He's the one that kind of leads the pack. But what about the last one that lives? I think it's Skank or something. But the one he's the last one after T Bird, and he's like trying to tell Michael Wincott what happened. He's just like,
Hmm.
oh, T Bird, man. He's like, this one. He's just going nuts. And Michael Wincott's like, should we record it and play it in slow motion so we can know what the fuck's going on? And he's like, so we can understand what the hell he's saying. But that guy just played that off so well. I laughed my ass off every time. But yeah, it's kind of bummed, a little waste of Tony Todd, man. I thought he could have been a really good second man, you know. He was good, but he could have been really good. I feel like he was the only one that was a little wasted. But I think you got so many good ones with T-Bird, Tintin, and Fun Boy. Those guys just overshadowed Tony Todd, and he just didn't really have much to work with. He's kind of like the
Tony
chill
Todd was
one.
playing it straight.
He's not really crazy. He's kind of just chill.
Yeah, he's playing he's the straight guy to all the crazy guys in there. Is what he is.
Yeah, he kind of plays more of like I'm like the professional assassin.
I'm the brains. I'm the brains of the outfit.
Right. Yeah. And then he like his boss is like ripping eyeballs out, and they're kind of into some witchery type shit with that Asian chick. So there's some cool stuff that I'd have liked them to go a little bit more into that, like what's going on, like they're, you know, like he's like setting that eyeball on fire, and he's like like breathing in the smoke and snorting smoke, and you know you could tell they're just fucking nuts, bro. But yeah, I think, you know, just the whole atmosphere of the movie is just absolutely awesome. And the score, dude. The score is really good as well.
Yeah, the score's good, yeah.
Who the hell did he say who did the score? Music by Grammy Revell. I never heard of his name.
Oh, Graham Revell?
He's
a rock and roll guy. Yeah,
is he? That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's done Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Pineapple Express. Oh, Willy's Wonderland comic series fan dub. He did the composer for. What is it? Oh, that must be like Willy's Wonderland when they do the little like animation shit in it.
Right. Oh, he's doing
he composed Unthinkable, the Samuel L. Jackson movie that Two Gun sent us a copy of. Lance Anderson did the makeup for The Crow, which I think that's another thing. They don't show a lot of the kill scenes really, like big, which I wish they would kind of done a little bit more graphic with the kill scenes. That would have really amped it up a little bit. Because I would almost think this could be a PG-13 movie in a way. It is a rated R, but I would have liked maybe like one or two really good kills, but it technically, I guess, doesn't need it. That's not what the movie's trying to say. It's all about the love story and the revenge. It's not really about the kills. You know, this wasn't trying to be a slasher or, you know, a big horror movie.
Right.
This was, you know, trying to be a little bit something different. And so I kind of can't really fault it for that at all. And it looks like, what was it? Cinematography done by Darius Wolski. I don't know. I probably said that. Wolski. And he's done a bunch. Oh, he's cinematography for Crimson Tide, Napoleon, The Martian with Matt Damon, News of the World with Tom Hanks, The Last Duel, House of Gucci, Sicario, Day of the Salado, All the Money in the World, Alien Covenant, Exodus, Gods and Kings, The Counselor, Prometheus, Pirates of the Caribbean, Strange Tides, Alice in Wonderland, The Rum Diary, Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber, Pirates of the Caribbean,
a lot of movies.
World's End, Dead Man's Chest, Hide and Seek, Curse of the Black Pearl, Dark City, Perfect Murder, The Fan, I said The Crimson Tide, The Crow. I mean, this guy has got a fucking list. So he's a big name one. And he said, like, I mean, he just did Napoleon and all that. So I mean, this guy, that's a good one. And it shows why the cinematography is one of my favorite things in this movie, without a doubt. Absolutely love that. If you say what would be like one of your favorite scenes in the movie, since if Fun Boy would be your favorite villain.
Yeah, I think when he gets Fun Boy in the bathroom there, when he's with the hooker, that's probably one of my best. I like that whole confrontation's great.
That is a good one, and especially too when he's like morphine is bad for you, and like you see it like come out of her veins. from like one of her
Right.
shoes or shot marks. Nuts, dude. That's a crazy one.
Forced her straight. Yeah.
Yeah, I and then kind of gave her a second chance of being a mother. So yeah, there's definitely some good symbolical stuff in here, man. And yeah, it's phenomenal. Um, Let me see what would be my favorites. What's it going when the little girl when he's like, you want some beans on your hot dog? Nah, beans will make you fart. Or no, is it onions? Onion. I think it's onion. You want onions on your hot dog? Nah, onions will make you fart. But yeah,
Gotta
man,
have onions in that dog.
I like T-Bird's death. T-Bird's death is really good too. Yeah, that might be one of the most explicit deaths. I'd say that in Fun Boys. I also like Tintin's when he thinks he's this big knife guy, and he gets like, they're like, man, he threw a knife in every one of Tintin's arteries. So yeah, that was wicked, man. Definitely a good one. Trying to think if there's anything. I guess last but not least, what do you think the movie's trying to say, brother?
Well, basically, it's a revenge flick, so it's all about redemption for that character for not being there for to save his wife, and then ultimately him getting together with her at the end. So it's a redemption of their love story, unrequited love, save all. So there's been a lot of these 90s revenge type flicks, but this is one of the better ones, I thought.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, with The Crow being inspired by James O'Barr, and his wife being murdered by a drunk driver, and him basically channeling his grief into those pages that he wrote for The Crow. It's definitely about, wanting to get revenge. I'm sure he wanted to fucking strangle that guy who did that to his wife, and wishing that, there maybe you could bring somebody back, and get that second chance. And what is it like when uh, T-Bird, he's like, no, man, we killed you. He's like, you can't come back from that. He's like, this is Earth, man. You can't come back from that. He's like, we killed you. You're dead. So, I always thought that was pretty kind of deep. But yeah, I mean, I guess just the whole thing too about Shelley being taken away from him, and sometimes people you love get taken away from you, and you got to just kind of continue life without them. And there's nothing you can do, nothing you can say that'll bring them back, and that like hole can never be filled. But you just gotta kind of keep pushing on and living for their memory. Sad thing for their movie is that they both were killed, but I know that's kind of like what James O'Barr was probably thinking, since he was kind of stuck there, and had to sit there with all those thoughts in his head after his wife was killed. So tough one, man.
And then
And
I like the final confrontation at the end too, with Ernie Hudson coming in to save him, and
yeah,
him finally being killed. I
yeah,
thought it was the end of this movie is really good.
yeah, that's a good one too. I thought I was supposed to lead. He's like, I think I messed up. But at least he still lives. At least he lives. Yeah, Tintin, I never miss. And obviously, the great line of this, it can't rain all the time. I love that line, man. Such a good
That's what he
one.
tells the girl.
Yeah. And I think that it just definitely has a little secondary meaning, Um, but yeah, definitely a great movie. So anybody in the chat, if you guys want to throw your rating down below, tell us what you thought of this movie, and what your rating is, and what do you think? What's your rating on this, Scarphead?
I'm gonna give it a 4.25, 4.25.
Yeah,
I think it exceeds what it started to try to do. by what actually happened in the movie. They did a pretty good job bringing it to the screen, given all the stuff that went on. So in the end, the final product is pretty decent, and
Yeah.
and probably the best of the Crow on screen. So 4.25 for me. Probably more so because of the performance of Brandon Lee.
Four and a quarter then. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably go 4.5. Cinematography is fantastic. Just a movie that would have kickstarted Brandon Lee's career. I think if Brandon Lee didn't die, I think this movie would be a 5 straight the fuck up. Not faulting it for because obviously that's nothing they can control, but you know, it was kind of like one of those Black Panther 2 type situations. But
Mm-hmm.
this is more like I'd say like Fast and Furious 7, where there was stuff filmed by Paul Walker, where Black Panther they didn't film anything for 2, you know, so they just had it. But I think this movie would be a masterpiece if they got to do what they had intended. I still think this movie is absolutely awesome, and I love it, and I love the atmosphere, and I love Brandon Lee in it. I love the bad guys, and I just love the world, you know. But yeah, I always will think like, what if we would have got what they really intended? But even still, I love what they ended up with, and yeah, it's still a great movie without a doubt. But yeah, always in the back of my head, I'll think about what we could have got, but for what they had to work with, I think they did a fantastic job without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4.5. It looks like Two Gun agrees. 4.5 Slips and 4.5 Crows. 4.5. You got to think about a remake. If they make a remake, it would suck. Yeah, I don't think they'll ever remake this. You know. The cinematography and music / score with it. Yeah, so good, man, so good. Yeah, and I love that they make him like in his when he was living that he was kind of like a musician and all that. So I think that adds to like you got to have a great score and a great little rock theme in this. So without a
Mm-hmm.
doubt, great. So yeah, 4.25 from Scarpan and 4.5 from me, Two Gun and Shield. I think that's average score of about 4.369. I
Sounds
think
right.
spot on, brother. Let's see, what do we got? So next week we got one of my guilty pleasures that I've always loved since I was a kid. And you guys love this one. It's finally getting a 4K, but I didn't get no until later, and I don't even think Scarpad's picking up that one on 4K, so it really doesn't matter.
Which one?
Phantoms. Yo, you Affleck, you the bomb in Phantom. We're gonna do
Yeah, I got the
Phantom next
Blu-ray, I
week.
think.
You got the Blu-ray, you said, so you weren't picking up the 4K. I did pre-order the 4K because I think the Blu-ray's out of print, sadly. But I just figured I think when that comes out, I think I already had something else planned, and it's not even that big of a deal. I'm not really tripping. I still be able to watch it, and that's the biggest thing. But I've just been dying to do this. I love Phantoms, and it's been a little bit since I watched it. Yeah, it should be a good one. Affleck, Liev Schreiber, who I think was Katie Holmes in that one too, right?
I vaguely remember I saw it once.
Oh,
I don't think I was
really?
too impressed with it. Maybe I'll feel better about it now. I don't know. We'll see.
I hope you. Rose McGowan. I hope you
You
like
know,
it.
it
It's
came out
one of
what
those.
97, so it's 20 years old now at least. So
Yeah, yeah. Finally getting a 4K though. So
30 years. Almost.
I'd probably give it a 4.52. Brandon Lee was great in this. Hell yeah, brother. That's what I like to hear. I hope not. My personal classic. Yeah. I hope you don't. I hope you're not too upset when that remake comes out in 2 months. But yeah, so Phantoms next week. Should be a fun one. Do you have anything you want to show before we get out of here? Nothing?
No, just let everybody know once again in about a half an hour, I'll be on Kick Scarpad showing the 2003 original version of Wrong Turn, which I have not seen. So we'll see if it's a good one. It's got rednecks in it, so I'm
Second one was
halfway
directed.
there.
Second one was directed by Joe Lynch. Anything for
Yeah.
David? Good movie. Thanks, son. Thanks, Jill. Appreciate you, brother. I won't do anything for David, but I gets down with Phantom, and I gets down with Phantom too. I hear you. I can't wait for that 4K to come out. But I got like 3 things I'll show real quick. This was on sale, and I'd showed Scarpad this, and I've never heard of it or seen it, but it said this is Spinal Tap for horror fans, and it has David Naughton, Ken Faree, Gunnar Hansen, Brian O'Halloran, and a bunch of other guys. It's called Brutal Massacre, a comedy. So Scarpad snagged a copy for me and him. So me and him will be checking this out. Looks funny. Looks like a fun one. And this was like $8. So I finally picked this up because I love this sequel to the classic 2010.
Oh, you finally got
the year
it.
we made Contact. The year we made Contact. Yeah, finally got it. I didn't want to miss it before it goes up in price or before it goes out of print because I love 2010. I love this movie, man. Such a good one. And if you didn't see, me and Scarpad just watched this on Kick Thursday night, and we had a fucking blast. Our favorite movie of the year right now, Sasquatch Sunset. I keep wanting to call it Sunset Sasquatch, but Sasquatch Sunset with
Yeah.
Kelly Riley Keough and Jesse Eisenberg. This movie is fucking awesome. Highly recommend you guys checking this out. And it's produced by Ari Aster. This movie is incredible. I have watched it like 4 times now, and it gets better and better each time. And another one Scarpad's graciously sent me that me and him are going to try to watch this week. Snake, or it's got the other title, or the other cover says, but I think Snake is maybe better. This is that reverse cover I was telling you about. Zanuck and Brown, who brought you Jaws, now present a major horror film, Snake. So
actually, when this movie came out, it was just called. There was no Snake part of it.
Yeah, that's what this cover says. Just
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Was it originally called Snake?
No, it's just.
See, I thought this was the original poster.
No, it was a poster, but it's not the original name. That's the original poster.
This is the original poster. Yeah, that's weird because actually I thought it said collector's edition on the first, so maybe because they usually don't do reverse covers on these. But I don't. This one maybe never did have a slip cover, honestly, because it only has one interview on it too. So this one might not have ever had a slip cover.
Starring the great Dirk Benedict from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. So, and I watched the trailer for it, and it looks really cool. So I can't wait to check that one out.
It's a good 70s movie. Yeah.
Oh, it came out in 70s. Oh, 73. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got. Didn't really get much. I don't really have much coming. But yeah, so Phantoms next week and Wrong Turn and 10:30.
Yeah, about half an hour we'll be doing it.
All right, so yeah, go check it out on Kick, y'all.
Probably 10:30. Yeah.
All right, well yeah, go check it out on Kick. As always, definitely recommend you guys downloading that. And as always, appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us. If you didn't get a chance, go watch The Crow. Fantastic movie. highly recommend this new 30th anniversary 4K movie. Looked better than it ever has. And this is one that needs a 4K with all the dark scenes, like Scarp had said. Y'all just reminded me of a movie. I'm going to surprise you both when I send it to you. Oh, hell yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what it is.
Too good. All sounds the good stuff.
He always sends us the good stuff. That's for damn sure. I've never once been let down by anything that he has recommended to me or sent me. He always sends great movies and always gives great recommendations. Always. What was the one? The Trauma film we watched. That was the dopest. Terra Firma. That might be the most awesome, badass, crazy, batshit, off the wall trauma film I've ever seen. I love that movie. And Sasquatch Sunset is surprisingly good. Hell yeah, it truly is. Sadly, no slip though for Sasquatch Sunset. Bummer. But yeah. So we'll see you next week for Phantoms. And as always, we appreciate you coming, chilling, hanging out. Have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.
Hey, guys.
Later.
Groovy.